because yeah, career. I want to talk more on that though. So, talking with David Coulter, which I was kind of like, like in my head, I was like, there's a chance JT and him might have talked.
Yeah.
But probably not. And you had.
Yeah.
But
he's the nicest guy.
He really is. And I talked to him about career and, running a business, and he was just talking about relationship building and how that's running a business, and it's just relationship. And he loves building relationships.
Yeah.
I mean, that's who he is to his core.
Right.
And I was thinking about you, and I'm sure people ask you, like, what do you actually do? Which
right.
I'm literally asking you right now. But also, what is it that you love about it? What is it that, I mean, I imagine relationship building is almost key to your success, though, right?
Not entirely, and this was intentional. So, and this goes back to why personal growth and pursuit of being optimal is so important, because I tell this to my girls: you are who you are.
Yeah.
And society and your friends and your family, they want to put you in a certain box, and the sooner you figure out who you really are, and if you're outside of that box and you decide to live based on your own actual true identity that you've searched for and pursued, the happier you're going to be, in my experience. So I've been in a leadership box my entire life. I was captain of the football team, class president, went to West Point, was an officer in the military. I mean, the first formidable years of my life, every indication was Jeff's a leader. And I understand why that is, and has to do with the way I present myself and communicate and execute and all that kind of stuff. From in a business perspective, in a professional setting, I'm not a very good leader. I don't think. And maybe I am a good leader. I don't like it. It's not. I used to think, when I got out of the military and I got into business, my thought was, I'll be the CEO. That's what I do. That's what military West Pointers do. They become the CEO of whatever the business that they're in, and that's what I realized too. I don't want to do that. And at somewhere along the line, I realized that's not who I am. What I like to do is to create and to develop. And I can do that somewhat in isolation. So what I am, I'm a developer of energy infrastructure. I build things. So
But you're not building.
I don't construct.
Right.
Yeah, right. I'm purely a developer. So like when you think about real estate, that's usually the way that I think about it. To explain it is, someone says, that plot of land right there would be a great plot of land for a hotel. There's, highly populated area, not a lot of, they do the market analysis, they decide, okay, well, there's not a lot of competition here, you've got good access, there's plenty of land, it's got good views. They have a vision, and that's the origination process. So they originate the project, which that requires them to go out and secure the lands, get the permits, get a hotel, contract to come in and put their brand up on it. And then they go out and they hire the construction companies to build it, and they also have to be responsible for the economics. It's like, well, I'd really like to build a 10-story hotel with high-end finishes, but this market doesn't sustain that, so now I've got to do the economics for a 4-story building. I do the same exact thing with energy infrastructure, and more specifically oil and gas, and more specifically natural gas.
Right.
So I look at a market and say, this market, there's supply over here, there's demand over here, we need to build infrastructure to get that supply to this demand center. It doesn't exist here. I can't build it in Massachusetts because they got a moratorium. I've got to move it to New Hampshire, but the economics are different. So I did that. My first time developing something was with Irving Oil in 2013. So I've been in business for 5 years out of the military. I joined the Irving Oil team, and they wanted to build a natural gas facility up in New Brunswick. It didn't exist. And even the application of what we were building didn't exist. And they basically said, Jeff, go figure it out. They gave me a team of engineers, sales guys, construction guys, and they handed me the keys. They gave me a budget, $30 million, and they said, you got to have this rate of return, this is how much you can spend, we want it done in 18 months. And I just got to figure the whole thing out with a team. So that's what my leadership skills are very effective in that environment.
Right.
Where I can take people from engineering, and you got to talk to an engineer differently than you got to talk to a sales guy, and you got to be able to manage all that. And I was having this conversation with my West Point buddy, Mike Kamen, who lives in Kennebunk now, And he was saying, sometimes he works for Pratt and Whitney, and he's like on his way to the C-suite. You know, he's going to be that guy. He's like, I take it for granted, my leadership skills sometimes. He's like, I just was raised that way through school and sports, and he's like, I'll go do a leadership-related task that I don't even think twice about, and other people don't even think to do it. You know, so
right.
Yes, I have leadership skills built in there, and that's where development works really well for me. But I did that for Irving Oil in 2013, and then I kind of moved into more just directly sales and business development related roles, which is still kind of the same thing. You got to identify a market, you got to create a product that the market wants, and you got to connect customers and supply and all that stuff. But true development, where something doesn't exist, you have a vision for it, and then you put a team together to build that that infrastructure. That's what I'm passionate about, and doing it within the energy industry, which I think is one of the most important industries. I mean, I think healthcare is extremely important. I think manufacturing is really important, and I think energy is really important for a sustainable economy. And then the energy industry is going through so many changes right now. It's really exciting. So that's the other thing, is what I'm doing today I know is going to change over the next 20 years. And but again, the reason I wake up now, so I've been self-employed for the last 2 years as a developer.
Right.
And I work for myself, I work with partners, and I work with engineers and contractors. But why I wake up every morning feeling pretty stoked about what I'm doing is because I'm doing what's true to myself. I'm not trying to go be the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, because
Right.
that's not who I am.
Right.
And I thought that's who I was, and I thought that's who people were telling me I was. And I wish I had realized that sooner and done this sooner. So that's part of this whole self-exploration thing. It gets you to a point where you're like, nah, I mean, is being self-employed at risk, kind of living and breathing by the development project that you're working on? I mean, development is really hard. Not every project that gets conceived gets built. And it's, you know, it's probably 1 out of 10 type thing. So it's very difficult and very risky, but I love it, you know. And that's what gives me a lot of peace throughout the day is, you know what, I don't think there's anything else out there I'd rather be doing right now.
So what is like, paint me a picture of like what your tasks are in the day. Like, so you say you're not a lot of relationship building? Like, you're
No,
not,
it is. I said that wrong. Yeah, not in the way that Dave Coulter would use it, like,
right.
you know, mentoring employees.
Well, he was talking about how, like, just getting to know everybody he can, because you never know when something's gonna happen.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of thing, and being, and he's generally just interested in
Yeah.
everybody. You know,
Yeah.
like, and so it's for him to like go out and like talk to the congressman, but then talk to like literally Joe Smo that's on the
Yeah.
side of the, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Like everybody is a potential something and because that's who he is, he's building these relationships that someday that person needs. You know, I can help you and you can help me, or
Yep.
whatever. Yes.
Hey, no, I do. That is what I do, and actually, that is my daily task.
Connecting dots.
Right.
That don't exist.
Exactly. My daily task is program management. You know, which is in any development project, you've got the financial and market side of things. You've got the, you know, the partnerships, the people, the team members that are all under one roof, and then you've got the kind of contractors, the thing, you know, who's going to actually build it, and every stakeholder, and then those are the internal team members. The external team members are the congressmen, the community, the competitors, and you've got to manage all of those relationships and connections. And I definitely think one of my skills is prioritizing which relationships need tending over others, because I see a lot of people get lost in program management or project management with unnecessary details. They'll put 100 things on the list and they'll treat them all equally important.
Right.
To move a project from origination and vision all the way through to construction and execution, there's going to be times where you have to really flex on your partners. Like, guys, it doesn't matter if the market's there and the economics are good. If you and I, the partners, aren't all on the same page, none of this is happening. So you spend some time nurturing that relationship. Right. And then there's other times where you're like, all right, my project partners are good. I really need to flex on the financials or the bank or the market or the stakeholder. And navigating that on a daily basis, I love it. It's the most fun thing that I do, is waking up and going, all right, it's been a while since we've talked to our customers. they're good, but I know I need to check in, nurture that relationship. It's going to pay off, 3 months from now, and just prioritizing that day. And the guy that I work with down in Boston, who's really my sponsor, the guy that who's paying my bills, and the guy that's going to fund the entire project, we talk about this all the time because he's like, there's a lot of people that do development that just aren't that good. They struggle to get things done. And I was like, yeah, it seems like a soft skill, but I think it really is a hard skill. It's like engineering. Like, you have to be trained as an engineer, and you've got parameters and science and things that you have to abide by. Development's no different. There are rules, do's and don'ts, in my opinion, and not everybody knows them, and not everybody can execute on them. And prioritizing relationships is definitely one of them. I mean, just like anything, if a business puts too much emphasis on their employees at the risk of their customers are going to go away. If a company tries to only satisfy the customers at the risk of their employees, like, oh, you want us to be open 24/7? Great, everybody's working double time. Right. And then all the employees are like, well, now I'm cranky and I don't want to serve this customer. So balancing all of those influences, and it's almost a limitless amount of influences if you really think about it. Everything's an influence. I mean, COVID, so we've got this development cycle, and then all of a sudden COVID gets dropped on top of it, and you've got to manage that. Like, normally we'd like to go get on a plane, go down and meet these people and shake their hands and bring them out to dinner, and now we can't do that. So how do you navigate that? And it's just like juggling and balancing 24/7. I would say, so to retract some of my previous comments, the exposure that I had, because the military was the same way. I mean, you get a clear objective, but you're managing your supply chain, your subordinates, your superiors, outside influences, like bad guys, and you're just constantly managing that. I've almost never been in an environment where I have one task, like bagging groceries. Right. Your task is to stand here and put this widget into this box for 8 hours. I've never been in an environment, or even like an engineering task, where it's like every day I'm going to be on this CAD drawing, and it's just going to be a new foundation that comes in every single day. Every environment that I've been in has been super dynamic, and I've taken that for granted, like we all do. You're like, right. Oh yeah, I'm comfortable in chaos. Yeah. So then when you find out that other people aren't comfortable in chaos, you're like, oh, I do have a competitive advantage here, and learning how to apply that. So, but anyways, to summarize all that, I really think the sooner you can get to living out your true self, and not like a new agey, like everybody's free, do whatever you want kind of perspective, but spend time on yourself to figure out what, lights your fire and all those other sayings, and then go do that, regardless of what other people think about you. Right. You'll find happiness. Right. You'll find peace, if nothing else.
It cracks me up. This is our second podcast, and I'm like, I had a list of things I want to get to, and I'm like,
oh, you just tell me to shut up and ask you questions.
No. It's like, I wrote down stuff like, man, we run out of stuff, because we went to dinner.
Run out of stuff.
We went to dinner and we're talking. We worked out. We did a little race review last night. I'm like, just in case. It's like, you didn't get to anything. No.
Well, we can put them on the list for next time.
No, I know, but I think that's a great thing.